folks, John Kelleher, Veritas Combat Arts and Fitness Academy, here again with part of our 360 leadership program, Outside the Dojo Safety Tips. And today we wanted to talk about child safety and environmental awareness with kids going back to school very soon. Really important that we go over some basic safety guidelines for kids, particularly with kids that are walking to school. Number one tip, always be aware in your environment. We talk about this in self-defense all the time. This is a skill you can use outside the dojo. Big thing right now, kids are constantly on their cell phones. They're constantly texting, Facebooking, listening to music, and they go everywhere with their cell phone. The cell phone can be used as a safety tool, let parents know where you are, call an emergency. But very important, if your child's walking to school, talk to them and encourage them strongly to turn the cell phone off. Don't be looking down while you're walking. First of all, it makes you what's called a soft target. If there's a predator looking for prey, they're going to look for somebody who's not paying attention, easily distracted, and it makes it more susceptible to being victimized. But more importantly, with respect to walking to school, is if you're walking in or near traffic and your head is down looking at your cell phone, you could potentially get hit by a car, you could slip, trip, so it's a very big thing to talk to your children about going back to school. Is keep the cell phone off while you're walking to school. Even with music in your ears, you wouldn't hear a car horn, you might not hear somebody yell if there was somebody coming, a car coming your way and somebody yelled, shouted for you to get out of the way. If your music's blasting and you have your earphones in, you might not hear it. So just as they tell people don't text and drive, same thing when you're a pedestrian, you're walking to school, don't text and walk, don't keep the cell phone off. Another thing to do, we encourage, particularly with the younger kids, but also your teenagers, is what we call file a flight plan. Like an airplane pilot will file a flight plan with the air traffic controller so that if anything went wrong, you can go back and see where they were supposed to be. Go with your children, if they're walking to school particularly, go with your children, do a practice walk with them, and then make sure you encourage them strongly to not deviate from that plan, that route to school and from school, and not to take shortcuts. That way, if God forbid anything happened or they were late or they didn't come home, you can at least retrace their footsteps and be fairly confident that you know the route they would have walked. And from there, if anything ever happened and you did have to get law enforcement engaged, at least they would know the route that your child was walking, and they could then look for witnesses or people with information. Another one is teach your children, and these are basic, but they're things that need to be gone over because people just forget. But teach your children to only cross the street at crosswalks or corners, designated walk areas, not to step out into traffic between cars or from behind trash cans or shrubs or bushes, because drivers, been driving all summer without the school zones in place. Now the school zones are back. Some people may not be putting the brakes on in the school zones yet because they're out of habit, and a split second could save a life. So make sure that they're crossing only at designated crosswalks. Another tip we have, and this is wrote a bunch of them down here, but another one is travel in groups when possible. Children walking to school, it's always safe. There's always safety in numbers, and if your child can travel at least with one other student or one other kid to and from school, it's always safer. But more is even better. Maybe form. People have carpooling groups. Well, have a walk to school group and get a group of kids together. You might want to designate one as the leader who can file the flight plan, so to speak. Exchange numbers so everybody knows who to contact in case of an emergency. It's all about preparation. It's all about advanced getting ready, going over, talking through possible scenarios, talking about with your children what could, might, or possibly things that might happen on the way that could be potentially dangerous, what to do, what to say, what to avoid. And again, it's always about keeping your eyes, ears open and trusting your senses, but using common sense. So again, I hope these safety tips help. This is part of our 360 leadership program here at Veritas Academy. Child safety is one of our specialties, and we'd be happy if you want to send your kids down. Self-defense lessons, but we also talk about life lessons like this and general safety. It's not just about punching and kicking. At Veritas, we want to make your child safe in all aspects of their life, because it's about 360-degree leadership, applying martial arts, discipline, focus, respect, and all the enhanced benefits you get from martial arts training to every area of your life. So again, going back to school, kids, be safe. Parents, talk to your kids, practice with your kids, and